Alrighty. Vaush has dumb thoughts on black conservatives. So, I mean, I don't know if. I mean, likely everybody knows about good old JLP here. Um, I mean, the man's just, he's a myth, he's a legend, but. Um, yeah, man, I like to actually say that this guy is a competent mindset for the conservative community is amazing. So, um, Vosh is definitely just in the wrong here. So let's take a look and find out.
And blacks don't have the common sense to make good decisions for themselves.
A lot of people don't. I don't like
How about the black
whites
conservatives?
who.
They don't have the common sense to make decisions for themselves.
I would say that being a black conservative pretty much like categorically means you don't have much common sense. Yeah.
To make decisions for themselves.
Yeah. At least politically.
And that's why you call Candace Owens a Nazi.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love calling Candace Owens a Nazi. She's pretty, isn't she?
Because she's black, she doesn't have sense enough.
I should probably say something. So Vosh is very. I watched a he has a Professor Vosh series where he talks about rhetoric and debate portrayal, and so his strategy going onto this was to be very like I don't want to say not careless, but just very relaxed, very fun. Not take it too seriously because this man cannot coherently emit intelligent thoughts at all. He just asks loaded questions and he'll just ask it over and over and over again. It's so funny. So I don't know how this guy thinks that this JLP is seriously on the right here. But no, his tactic was to just be very like free flowing. I mean, it was more of like to be impactful to the audience. So, but like, yeah. Anyway, we'll just watch.
Just think and do for herself.
Oh no, I call plenty of whites Nazis too. Don't worry.
But Candace Owens is a conservative, and you just said conservative blacks don't have the common sense to think and do for themselves. So that's why you call Candace Owens a Nazi.
I think that a black Nazi probably is lacking some sense of self-preservation. But I call lots of folks one.
But yeah, that's the other thing. Like, this is not a serious. Any conversation with JLP is not serious at all. Yeah, it's just. Let's see here. This dude is the result of college education in today's world. Yes. Possibility to assume the trauma of others and fully understand it is legendary. You should really tell everyone how they actually feel since we are all too dumb. Oh boy. People are triggered. So. Alrighty, let's keep going.
Nazis, and I would say all conservatives probably lack in common sense. So
shit.
don't worry, I ubiquitously distribute my dislike of conservatives.
And what
blacks,
is
whites.
in Candace Owens' situation? What is it about her that caused you to call her a Nazi?
That defending Hitler stuff was pretty out of left field, let me tell you. Because she said everything Hitler did within his own borders was fine. It was when he had ambitions abroad that when the trouble started.
And
but
why is she a Nazi for agreeing with that? I didn't hear her say it, but why is she a Nazi for having her own opinion?
Oh, I mean, the Nazis did have their own opinions.
But why is she one, as a black conservative, why is she one for having her own opinion?
I think that white Nazis are also bad.
I'm talking about Candace Owens now.
Oh, that she has every right
to. So like he didn't answer that question here, but I mean this guy just asked such like loaded, retarded questions. So it's like one thing for he is not taking it seriously, and he talks about this in one of his videos. So I mean I'd strongly encourage checking out the playlist Professor Vaush after this. So, but yeah.
To express her opinion, I have every right to call her very mean names for expressing those opinions.
Do you hate black conservatives?
I hate conservatives. Do I hate black conservatives?
How about black ones?
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I do love all people. But I hate black conservatives and white conservatives.
Why do you hate black conservatives?
I hate all conservatives, but black conservatives, because they have the gall of being conservative while having experienced more apropos than any other group in this country what it means to be under the heel of a white supremacist state.
Okay, I try to be quiet while I was listening to him just to get a feel. I like to read the room before running my mouth. Okay, Vaush, it seems like he has studied a lot of politics before. He has
Fair,
thoroughly
yeah.
taken a stance on the left, and anyone that
He's well.
taken a stand, he has studied a lot of politics before. He has thoroughly taken a stance
Oh yeah.
on the left, and anyone that takes a stance opposite of him, because he kind of feel like he's always right. He kind of feels like he's always right, and he
I
automatically
mean,
assumed.
you're watching the video with like the worst possible interlocutor. Maybe not the worst, but basically the worst.
That the left is for African Americans. And if you are an African American and you are for the right, then you're in the bed with the oppressor, pretty much. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah. So I did go over a video where I talked about a bunch of this shit and like why this is stupid. Um, but yeah, I mean, this is a great syllogism to go through. I made a full video on it breaking it down, but like yeah, it's amusing if you're a black conservative. It's I don't know if it's sad or funny, but it's just terrible. So
I'm going to listen further before I say anything else. I try to slow walk my experiences, my conversations about people who are, well versed in politics or seasoned in politics. But I will say, so far, he couldn't be further from the truth, believing that black people are where they should be as long as they are Democrats. And that right there shows his naivete. Hopefully,
all right, he seems like a nice guy, but oh my gosh, it just this is a clear demonstration that you've never heard what like you've heard a really uncharitable characterization of what leftists believe, and you haven't actually done any of the homework to figure it out. And when you do that, it just makes you look like a fucking idiot. So, but I don't know. He seems like a nice guy, so I won't try to be too harsh.
he's playing. He might be, being sarcastic right now, but let's finish checking him out and see.
It seems to me they're the ones who should have the greatest interest in voting against it.
Do you believe that America has always been a white supremacist state?
Since day one.
How is it that when I was growing up, under the Jim Crow laws, on a plantation, that black people did better than they are today? They had families, they got married, abortion was unheard of, they bought land, they built businesses, they became professionals, they went to college, those that wanted to go, and they did very, very well. If America is a Nazi country, why were blacks able to do better then than they are today?
Because white folk got more clever. Yeah, back in the day, way they discriminated against blacks, all on the books. Black people can't use this school, this water fountain. Nowadays, they're much more clever. Drug war, systemic deregulation of certain industries, stripping funds from ghettos. That way, you keep the blacks in line, but you do it without a single racist law in the books. And things have gotten worse. You're right.
What is wrong with black people that they allow themselves, because they were not like that prior to, after the civil rights movement. What is wrong with black people that they allow themselves to be kept in a certain place or used in that way today?
Hold on, before you say anything, I just wanted to say how discriminatory that comes off. Taking money from ghettos. Taking money from ghettos, bro. And black people ain't the only people in ghettos. So when you say when the government takes money from ghettos, ghettos are already lacking money. That's what make them ghettos.
All right, can we just acknowledge how you just completely disregarded what Jesse just said? He basically said, "What is wrong with black people in regard to that they can't overcome racial challenges?" That is so fucking discriminatory, and all you can talk about is the fucking stripping of ghettos. I like listen to this.
That they allow themselves, because they were not like that prior to, wrong.
Without a single racist law in the books. And things have gotten worse. You're right.
What is wrong with black people that they allow themselves, because they were not like that
So
prior to
What is wrong? Like, oh my gosh, watch this video, because please, it's literally like racism is defined as a belief that is, or racism is defined as a belief that race is a fundamental determinant of human traits and capacities, and that racial differences produce an inherent superiority of a particular race. So basically, there's these things in place that are fucking over the black community, like really bad, or really bad, and it doesn't matter that they're facing that. They need to overcome that. They need to be better, especially when most people who go through similar situations like that don't really do that hot in society ever. Maybe never in their entire life. So it's just that is so fucking stupid, especially coming from like a black guy. I mean, and the fact that you focus on Vaush talking about a systemic thing and saying that that's discriminatory, like I don't see how that follows at all. But it's why we also don't think that you guys are the smartest. So, as in conservatives, just to be clear.
After the civil rights movement, what is wrong with black people that they allow themselves to be kept in a certain place or used in that way today?
Hold on, before you say anything, I just wanted to say how discriminatory that comes off. Taking money from ghettos, bro. And black people ain't the only people in ghettos. So
That's
when you
not the
say when
point.
the government takes
For the
money from
That's not the point.
ghettos are already lacking money. That's what make them ghettos. If they put money into
No.
ghettos, then it becomes a suburb. You know what I mean? It's already a ghetto. It's already a hood. It's already a place that's a project, so to speak. And of course, I've heard many different things about projects. The reason why it's called a project is because it's a project. We're trying to see what happens. Cram as many people over there, lack of resources, and see what happens. All right. And he said, because the white man got more clever. I believe that too. I believe that to be true. I
Okay.
believe that the people of old who were used to a certain way of doing things got a little clever and they started saying, okay, we need to do this in a better way. So it not be completely out there like that. But something that he's not giving any attention to, or well, he's not saying something that he's not saying is that it was the Democrats who had their foots on the necks of black people more than Republicans did back then. And hopefully he'll point that out at some point.
Okay, he's probably not going to do it in this because this isn't really a serious discussion. I do believe. I used to believe that. I don't. I'm actually not sure. I'm actually not sure. Um, It's a really stupid question. But yeah, were Democrats systems? I'm sure there was, people from both parties. Actually, I mean, it doesn't matter at all. It's such like a useless talking point. But I'm not sure. Yeah, generally supported slavery or insisted it to be left to the states. Yeah. Um, yeah, many were anti-slavery. Yeah, I mean, sure, but it's like funny how it's like switched. Um, because watch this video, read the syllogism, but when you chalk something up to not systemic or sociological factors, you're basically saying that it's a problem with this person's biology. And then if you say that about every single person who happens to be part of this race, you're implying that there's something intrinsically wrong with a lot of people from that race due to like the disproportionate disparities and healthy living from a cultural perspective. Anyway,
But I'm just patiently waiting, man. Again, I'm here just to learn.
I don't think there's anything
Because
wrong
they
with
did
that.
I guess
not
yeah, I
allow
didn't see
that
the link in
prior
anything.
to the civil rights movement. What's wrong with them? The men and women in the black families and black communities that they allow that to happen to them today.
That's kind of like asking what a wife did to deserve getting beaten by her husband, don't you think? I don't think they
So,
did anything wrong. I think they were the victims of abuse
but
system.
what is wrong with them that they can't overcome circumstances as everyone else are doing?
See, he just asked the same fucking shit over and over again. He didn't grasp a thing he said. He just repeated his question.
I mean,
What is
because they're
wrong with the
targeted against
blacks?
them.
What is wrong with them that they can't overcome the target against them?
It's because conservatives in government hate black people. So they very specifically target black people when they're looking for ways to
Do you
discriminate
hate
against
black people?
minorities. I love black people.
Okay. Conservatives and government hate black people. I okay. Um, I need to check out more of this dude's stuff
Should.
because
He's actually
he don't sound that
really good.
smart to me. I mean, I'm sure he's intelligent, but people who believe that they know every damn thing, and he's sitting right across from a black person, and he's
He's
saying
fucking retarded.
they, as if he's not talking to a black person. And then he's saying that conservatives hate black people. You're talking to a black conservative, and you're saying conservatives hate black people, bro. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Every single
Yeah, you should listen to some more of his stuff so that you do get it. Because when you don't get something, a lot of times it means that you were completely out of your depth in terms of criticizing different opinions. So when I was conservative, I understood the conservative position very well. I did not I was literally in awe because I would tell myself, I don't understand how you can think this. I understand how you can think it, and I can tell you the issue. The issue is you are missing out on critical information that would change your perspective dramatically, and you just have to research it. Like it's one of those things where it's fairly unintuitive, which Vaush does have a pretty good grasp on it, but it's very unintuitive. And when I talk with most people who are on this side of the bridge, they don't get it, and they try to obfuscate by talking about things like reverse racism and whatnot. And it's just a really disingenuous take and characterization of our view. So, anyway,
single
ugh.
urban community that's
If you listen to me, I
taken
don't understand. Just
over by
research it.
overtaken by crime and all those things are in blue states. Please explain that to me, how they're being
Oh, what was it?
shown all things are in. Honestly, I don't get it. I really don't get it. Every single urban community that's overtaken by crime and all those things are in blue states. Urban community that's taken over.
Urban communities. Yeah, PolitiFact. Yeah, cities are generally more violent and they skew Democratic, but that's correlation. That's exactly it. Um, which I did not know that. That's interesting. But that's the thing. I mean, correlation, like this is a common fallacy where you try to establish a causal link between some things that are not necessarily causal or even statistically significant. But if you if you take like blue states and then you take a random number of um, of like violent cities, and I don't think it's everyone, but um, yeah, violence stems from a small percentage of the population and geography in the city, so connecting that to the overall politics is a stretch at best. Yeah, I mean, it's called a non sequitur, where you try to establish something that's not there. I mean, more specifically, it's a correlation causation fallacy. But this is really trivial, and I mean, it's cool that you knew that talking point, but I mean, yeah, you got to work on like more fundamental shit before you just go making claims like that. So, um, I imagine you likely heard that from some conservative commentator. So, which are great at cherry picking, by the way, really good. I should hire them for my orchard.
Overtaken by crime and all those things are in blue states.
Yeah.
Please explain that to me, how they're being shown all this love that they should be shown in these blue states. How are we being showed all the love that you believe we should be showed by the Democratic, majority? I mean, seriously, that's
I
that's
mean, that might
that's my
that
question,
that
because
might be a valid point. Like, there should probably be more that the state is doing to try to fix this, but I'm sure there's tons of other correlational factors that, or sociological factors that would make that perhaps more difficult to implement. But at the same time, like, yeah, that's something that should be fixed. But it would also help if you would vote. If you would vote for, I mean, like, Obama was nice when he was in, because he would like invest in black businesses and black schools and black communities, and it was oriented at getting their culture out of the rut on a lot of issues. And that's fine. That's great. That's awesome. So, I mean, it would also help who you vote for president. But yeah, no, I mean, he's not. That's not the worst point. So,
he seems so sure of himself and knows absolutely nothing. He just, let me see, this is the one thing that research would get you. It would get you placed in a position where you look foolish, because all you're doing is regurgitating information that you've read one-sided, and you've never really addressed the
I do want to say this is the most one-sided. Like, you ignore every stupid thing that Jesse Lee Peterson says. You just only focus on Vaush when he's not even taking this seriously, because Jesse Lee Peterson's a fucking idiot. Like, seriously, watch him talk to, like, you should watch. I'm trying to think of who's, like, watch him talk to someone better. Like, there was that he talked to like a gender scientist, um, and it was like Dr. So, and that was a really good discussion. That was on the whole transgenderism issue. It was really in depth. Really good questions on both parties. So, I mean, you should watch stuff like that and not just like this. Like, it's the worst possible look you could give yourself. So,
the situation as a whole, to fully understand what's going on. The Democrats are not helping the black people
aren't we
at all,
at
and
all?
you call that love? I don't. I,
Obama
You
did.
aim to do so
I don't get
well,
that.
and they are
I mean,
not.
Republicans
Well,
don't
for
want any of
one,
this
I was
shit at
born to
all.
upper middle class parents. I was born in Beverly Hills. I went to an incredibly good school district. I
course.
was able to get funding from my parents to help me with my education. I had contacts with
Why
my
not
parents' professional.
recommend that for them instead of
I don't know if I
making
can
them?
recommend they get born to upper middle class parents,
Oh,
but I'll.
you can't recommend that they, because most of the children, 70% of black babies born out of wedlock. Is that good for black people?
Oh,
And then you can also, if you're born upper middle class white man, and you've had all this help and free schooling and everything, why do you have on a USA flag shirt, and act like
I know why.
you're extremely knowledgeable of black people and what they've gone through, when you have absolutely no
It's to impact people like you, which it is doing. Um, but yeah, I check out Professor Vosh videos on his channel. It's a playlist.
clue whatsoever? Where do you get your information, bro? Where do you get your information? Because that right there, just even your upbringing, and then you come back down to, okay, so since I've gone that way, this right here shows why I'm an expert when it comes to black people, and what political side they should be on. That's
no,
ridiculous.
not at all.
Does it hurt them?
Oh, yeah.
In what way?
I'm not gonna lie, like, even the strongest of conservative speakers and influencers, like Shapiro, Michael Knowles, Matt Walsh, they don't even come close to intellectual depth on any of these subjects when you consider people like Vaush, Destiny, David Pakman. Um, yeah, like, it's we can synopsize every single one of your influencers' viewpoints and it's all cherry picked trash, is effectively the formation of all your arguments, whether it be climate change, um, anti-drugs, anti-abortion, anti-transgender, and it's all meant to stop any sort of policy on these topics from being enacted. And the policies that you guys are interested in are usually on things like banning CRT from K through 12, which is not really there anyway, or banning gender affirming care, and it's wild.
Oh, I mean, it's huge. If you're a single mother raising a kid, statistically more likely for them to commit one crime, for them to be locked up in jail, lower household income. Absolutely, it's
So
a huge
why
problem.
not recommend that they overcome that? Stop doing that.
I do, and I by the way, I vote for systemic changes that'll make it more likely for them to stop doing
What
that.
is a man?
I think a man is someone who identifies as one.
And what is love?
I think a man is someone who identifies as one. Yep, you're foolish. And I knew it. I knew you.
All right. So this is what I mean when they don't have any semblance of our understanding of argumentation. Yeah, you should watch this video, even though it is about racism, but it delves into social constructionism, which is a really complicated philosophy, and most of you have not read shit on it. So, and this guy hasn't either. He hasn't either. It's just like you hear it and it's so foreign to you. I don't know if it's because somebody terribly articulated to you, which that's probably what happened, or it was portrayed in a negative light by some conservative influencer. But I mean, if you watch enough Matt Walsh and Ben Shapiro and all those guys, I mean, this is not hard at all. But yeah, man, it's just like look up social constructionism, figure it out, look at the healthcare of it, look at the science. I have this great video.